I'm Julia.
And I'm Sue.
Welcome to Sticks and Stones. Today on Sticks and Stones episode 28, we're going to talk about yarn. What exactly do you do with all that yarn? What do you do when you get it home from the store? How do you make it work so you can actually knit with it? We'll talk about that. Plus Sue has some fun projects that she's been working on with her end of summer flowers. And Julia will show you some more things that she's been knitting. Come on back. Hello, welcome back. We were going to try recording outside today, but it is pouring.
It's raining, it's pouring,
yeah.
The old man is snoring.
So all my weeding that I just did yesterday is for naught.
No, they would be bigger tomorrow.
That's true. Yeah, it's been quite the wet mess out there, but that's all right. We are inside, we are dry, and we got some stuff to show you.
We do.
What have you been working on?
Well, I've been working on some wreaths, and this is what we came up with, this and this one behind us. And basically, I did this for the birds because these are purple cone flower, echinacea,
right? Yeah.
And this time of year they look horrific because the petals are all wilty and gross and they fade and they don't look great, but the birds love them. We have a ton of goldfinches that come and sit on them and eat the little seeds out. And this is hyssop, and it smells like licorice, and it has these tiny little thistle-like seeds in it, and the birds love those too. And so I always hate to cut them down because the birds like them, and I get to see goldfinches a couple times a day. So I decided to cut them and then wrap them around. I wrapped it with floral wire around an embroidery hoop.
Oh,
because that's just what I happen to have.
Cool.
These are the two pieces to it.
Oh, all right.
And the only reason I use that is because that's what I had.
Yeah.
Not because that's what you need to use. I mean, you could use anything. You could use the vine and make it a circle or whatever. And so I'm going to hang these up outside near the garden, and hopefully the birds will still keep coming to them and eating them.
That's a great idea.
And so, yeah, and I think they actually look neat. They look just terrible. They're all straggly and they're starting to fall over. And so there are little ones, little tiny buds still coming out.
Oh, okay.
So I cut them down to those, and then, I don't know, maybe those will come out nicer because they're not putting all their energy into making seeds.
Right.
So some of these are definitely at the seed stage. If I pulled that, there would be seeds everywhere. And then some of these, I'm wondering if they're going to just go to seed or if they need the plant. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's an experiment, as are most things
that
I do. It's an experiment, and we'll see what happens.
It's
so.
really pretty though. Yeah, I just love the muted colors of it. You know, it's not quite fall, but it's not quite summer either.
Yeah, and we threw some foxtails in there. I like foxtails even though they're a weed. I just think they're neat.
Yeah.
So, and it was easy. My daughter did it. I started one. You just take a bunch of them, wrap floral wire around it, put the next bunch next to it, wrap floral wire, and we just wrapped it all the way around, and then I just made. At the end, I just made a little loop so that I can hang it up. So, I mean, we did this in like probably 20 minutes, a half hour, and you know, I weeded it took me like 3 hours because I was weeding and then like
you were cutting,
and but I mean, really, it doesn't take that long if you just cut and wrap. So, yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah, I'll have to plant some of those next year.
Yeah,
I love those flowers. They make a nice tea too. No, that's chamomile.
No, they do. You can make tea out of it. If you're going to make the echinacea tea, like, for health, you need to use the root, though. Oh. And it has to be a couple years old, so.
Okay, never mind.
But you can. I've used the leaves and the flowers and made tea. So it doesn't have, like, a sweet flavor the way chamomile does.
Right. I love chamomile tea.
So that was the one thing I worked on. The other thing, I just came across these. I forgot I made these this summer.
Oh, wow. Those maps.
The magazine beads. These are magazines actually, but you could use maps. I should. I have a ton of maps.
Yeah.
To make these little beads, you know, where you
cool.
make a triangle and then roll it up, glue it, and then you just put Mod Podge on it.
What are you going to do with these now?
I don't know. I have to figure out a project.
I like the colors.
I was cleaning out. These are actually from a gardening magazine. You can see this one has little daisies on it. I was cleaning out the kids' backpacks for school. I had all summer to wash their backpacks and their lunch boxes, and I didn't do it.
Yeah, we found at least 2 or 3 containers, like from their lunches or snacks, that was like stuffed down in the side pocket. And thank goodness they were all empty, but I was just waiting.
We used ours for a trip, and we had done these when we went on a trip to Vermont. So I was digging through all the pockets, and I found these in a backpack, and I was like, I made those. How did they get in there?
Stealthy.
Oh, wow.
Those are neat. They do make some really interesting, like, I could see it with, like, silver chain in between each one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, make 5 or 6 of them across.
Maybe we'll have to do a DIY on that and make some fun stuff.
I love paper beads. I don't know how to make them, but I like them.
Okay, well then I guess we're going to have to do that. But not this month.
No.
Because this month we're going to talk about
organization.
Right, because everything's on sale right now.
Yeah.
Because of back to school. So this is the one thing that I wanted to show, and I cannot claim this idea whatsoever. Our community has the house tour in the spring, and I went on a house tour, and there was an artist there who had a studio, and there was a little table that was obviously for kids, and had a 3-tiered basket just filled with all the art supplies.
This is a great idea.
And it's brilliant because you can just take it and you want to go color outside, we'll take the whole thing outside instead of having to run back and forth. Or, you know, we're going to move to the kitchen. I just thought it was a great idea. So I finally found a basket that worked. A friend of mine just bought one from, I want to say either Pottery Barn or Crate and Barrel. That's a 3-tier one. It's enormous. It's about this tall. And it's really heavy.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to have to get some glass or porcelain cups because the plastic ones are falling over a little bit if the stuff's too heavy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just like it. We have all the stuff together so that when they come home to do their homework, they can, you know, take it to a different room if they want to.
Yeah. Yeah, we just set up actually in the opposite corner from here a little tiny desk that we're going to put all of our school supplies in. So they're in one spot. They're not scrounging looking for pencils and crayons and whatever. You know, it's all there. And they can sit here at the dining table and do their work.
Right.
Hopefully.
So, anyway, so the thought is that for the month of September, then we will talk about different ways to organize your craft supplies.
And we have many.
Yes.
So, between the two of us, I think we cover just about
we have many
all
craft
the
supplies, not necessarily many ways.
I don't know.
But many ways, too.
Yeah. We'll get creative. So.
So what have you been working on?
Well, I've had a pretty productive couple of weeks here, actually. I haven't shown you guys the, I showed you guys the sweater, just the yoke last time. So I finished that. This is my Lush. This is by Tin Can Knits. Done in Malintosh Vintage,
so
and I
pretty.
love it. This is like the perfect rainy day sweater.
It almost looks metallic.
Yeah, a little bit. It's got kind of a sheen to it. This is an interesting project I was telling Sue earlier. I did some modification on it because I didn't want it to have a real high neck. I tend to be a little broad-shouldered, so I didn't want the yoke to be making me look like a football player. So I did some short rows here, and so the front of my neckline is a little bit smaller than the back of my neckline, so it comes down more in a U instead of in a boat. So I did that. And I really messed with this pattern. It's written for a DK weight yarn. This is worsted to Aran weight, which is 1 to 2 weights heavier. So,
and yeah, what I have is wah 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 wah.
And that's why we're talking about yarn today. No,
I feel like Charlie Brown right now.
I'm gonna get these numbers wrong, but technically, like a DK weight, you would knit to probably 8 to 10 stitches per inch. And a worsted is 5, and an Aran is slightly less than that. So you are going to obviously get a different size garment depending on your different size yarn. So this is a much heavier weight yarn than I was supposed to use for it, and it's supposed to be done in negative ease. So I decided I was going to work with some of the strategies from a Fit and Flatter book. It's by I'll put it in, I can't remember her name. But anyway, it's about modifying to fit your body more. So I measured it to fit this part up here, not just my bust size, so that it would not just fall like a tent. It would actually be kind of fitted. And I thought, with it being a heavier yarn, chances are if I knit that too small, the garment will be bigger. It will kind of compensate for each other. I ended up with a ball this big at the end of my sweater, and I was paranoid that I was going to get it on, and it was going to be too small, and I was going to have no more yarn to fix it, but it blocked out really well. It's actually a lot softer than it was when I was working with it. It was pretty, it could kind of stand up by itself when I was working with it, and I'm really happy with it. It fits just right.
It does. It looks great.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive that you were able to take a pattern and do all those things without you know, just on a whim.
Well, kind of. It took a lot of guts and a lot of planning, but it worked. So I'm really excited about that. And I think the next projects, the next few sweaters I do, I'm going to try that again so that it's not just, I mean, I want it to fit me. I don't want it to fit, or the intended recipient, not a mannequin. Because that's, you know, obviously our bodies are not mannequins.
Right.
So I didn't show you guys this summer yet, but I did spin earlier. It's been really hot, and I guess spinning and humidity don't work well for me because I feel like I made some pretty good art yarn. It's got big, huge, thick spots and skinny spots, and I don't know, it's interesting.
That one looks more consistent though.
Yeah.
Is that the first one or the second one?
This is the first one. I think I started it and then I finished, I don't know. I just remember getting really like, I couldn't draft the wool because my fingers were too sticky. It was like felting on itself. It's 100% merino, so I don't know if that makes, maybe it's that kind of wool versus another kind of wool that just didn't work as well for me. But it's very interesting. This is the stuff I bought at the zombie conference. And I got 2 skeins of it, so I'll be playing with this a little bit later, probably in the fall, spring.
Do you have any big ideas for it?
No, I didn't get a huge amount of yardage. It might be a hat or something.
Nice.
Yeah, so I did that. I did spin. And then I've been designing. Yay!
Go girl.
My oldest asked me 2 weeks before school started if I would please make her a shawl.
Nice.
And of course, instead of just saying, sure, I'll make a simple one, I thought, you know what, I'm going to make one to go with her outfit. And there was none. So I made this little, it's tiny, this little guy.
And the picture on the internet looks way bigger. I thought it was this big.
Yeah, it's not. It's little. It's a tiny one. It's just 200 and something yards, so it could be made bigger, but I just didn't have time to make it any bigger. So it's called Moonlight Water Dance, and it will be written up as soon as I get a chance, and I can
it's really cute.
Have some people test it for me.
So do you write it up to be only that size, or do you write it up that it can be different sizes?
No, it'll be multiple sizes, because this is really too small for anybody but a child, and I figure that, you know, you can just continue this pattern on as long as you want to, and then at the edge. So I'm going to do it again with like 400 yards, I think, and see how that works.
Really pretty.
Yeah.
And did she wear it the first day of school?
She did.
Nice.
We have a sneak. Say hello to my husband.
Oh boy. He really wants to be in a podcast. He so desires to be in technology.
Oh boy. Thank you. Bye.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Too much fun here, huh?
I know it. And other than that, I made these little rock charms.
Oh, fun.
We went down to DC a couple weeks ago, and my kids wanted rocks from the mineral store. So I
Really cute.
wound them up with some yarn, some wire, and they can be keychains or
Nice. Or zipper pulls.
yeah, necklaces. So
Fun.
that's all I've been doing. You have anything coming up in the works?
I have to schedule a class at some point. But I have to get my act together.
To go to or to teach?
To teach.
Okay.
I'm going to be teaching co-work class coming up.
Oh, cool.
Co-work. Hopefully in October. I have to pick a date and just do it.
Yeah.
It's been a fun summer, but it's, you know, that makes your schedule crazy when you just go and do stuff all the time. So now it's time to get back in the groove, and I'm looking forward to having a regular schedule and being creative in a more structured way. So
Good.
I don't know if I have anything else coming up.
Yeah.
I'm going to be making a bunch more bibs because suddenly there's babies again. I don't know where these babies keep coming from. Well, I do, but
Did you have that talk? I just had that talk with somebody in my household, and let me tell you, it was an interesting one.
Well, and he had to go outside for it.
Oh gosh. So
he couldn't hack it. Hiding in the bushes. So, yeah, you were working on anything in particular?
not really. I'm kind of in between projects because it's the middle of, you know, changing seasons, and I don't really know what I want to do yet. So it was the perfect time for us to start playing with yarn a little bit and get some ideas going and show you guys how to turn this into this. And what do you do with that yarn? So we'll be right back to show you some ideas that we have and different ways that you can work with yarn if you don't have specialized equipment.
Stick around.
So we're just going to talk today about some questions that people might have as new knitters.
You mean people like me?
I guess so. She had some questions that I never even thought to ask, so this is kind of good for anybody who's not a experienced yarn-aholic.
You didn't come out of the womb knitting.
This one's for you. So what?
Well, you come home with this from the store, and then I've seen that you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this, and I'm always like, oh, is there the proper yarn format that you're supposed to have it in when you start knitting?
Okay. Well, this is one that you will see these a lot in yarns that you might get from a big box store, or they tend to be probably the less expensive yarns. The hand dyed ones are not going to look like this. This is even, you can work with it from the outside or the inside, but it comes kind of pre-wound.
Okay.
So you don't have to manipulate it a whole lot.
But you do, if you work from it from the inside, it'll just pull up. But if you work it from the outside, you have to take this off,
yes,
right? Because it twists around.
Yes.
And then you have to remember to keep this if you want to know the color,
right,
or the weight, or anything like that.
Right.
Yes, because and then sometimes if you're not careful, it gets twisted.
Yeah, or you pull out the inside and half of it comes with it.
Yes.
Yarn barf.
Yarn. I love all the yarn terminology.
Yeah.
And then what do you do if you get yarn barf?
You just wind it around the outside until...
So then you end up, kind of like
that. I have a little bit wound around here that I had left.
So you're hoping that doesn't happen, but sometimes it does.
Yeah, because it's hard to find that one little string in the center there. You kind of have to pull around.
Okay, so it's okay. I go to Michael's and I buy this. I can go home and I can start knitting with this. I don't need to do anything to it.
You don't have to.
Okay.
You don't have to. A lot of times if you want to buy something from an independent dyer or from a company that does, it's called hand painting, where they dye it in smaller batches, you're going to get a skein or a hank that looks like this. And this is just kind of like what we did with our dyeing last summer. It's just a big long loop of the yarn, and instead of winding it into a ball, they skein it up. Technically, some yarns will stretch if you leave it in a ball.
Really?
Yeah. So,
but they won't stretch if you go.
No, they're not. It's not as tight because these are when you're winding it, you tend to be pulling it just inadvertently, and it doesn't affect every yarn as much. I mean, some will affect more than others, but it's best to keep your yarn, especially if it's a higher end yarn or an alpaca or something that's going to have more give to it, in a skein like this.
And so you make it a skein. So if you undo it for some reason, I can't undo
this side.
See, I know nothing about this. So if you undo it,
yeah,
you got to keep your fingers in there, or else you end up with a twisty mess.
Not necessarily. I mean, you get it'll hang. That one might be more twisty because that one's mine. And
the reason I came up with this idea is the yarn that we dyed last year. My
Yeah.
kids wanted to make pom-poms out of it, and I was like, "Don't start until we ball it."
Yeah.
And my son just like took it apart and laid it on the floor, and then you end up with like everything's crisscross.
That will be
and it's a mess.
And that can get very tangled, and then you may
So you always want to
yarn.
keep it in its loops like this, and then you just take your fingers and go in opposite directions.
Right, and that will twist it, and then it will kind of
let go, and it
spin up on itself.
So if you have a big loop like that, I didn't spin it enough.
Yeah.
And spin it itself, and this is called skeining it.
Skeining, yes.
And then you take one end and you stick it through the loop of another end.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is probably the best way to store it. You do not want to, once you take the little ties off, you can't have it touching itself. It has to be in a loop. It has to be stretched out somehow, or you're going to get the tangles and knots and stuff, and sometimes that can be a real bear to get.
Yes. Luckily we didn't get too far. I interviewed before there was too much turmoil. Luckily those skeins too are pretty small.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
And we were making pom-poms, so we could have got out the scissors and cut it.
Yes.
But isn't that some sort of inappropriate move in knitting?
Technically, you want to have as few knots as possible because it'll leave bumps. But you know, it depends on what you're working on too. Obviously, I wouldn't want to have a whole lot of knots in a garment that you can see like popping out, and you can't weave the ends. So sometimes the yarn will slip, and a knot will not hold as well as if you weave the ends across each other. So just some little sneaky tricks. But I mean, as for winding, once you get that.
So basically, you should store it in like this, but now that, you know, if you decide you're going to make this into a hat, now you need to take this and make it a ball.
Yes.
Because otherwise it will be a knotty mess.
Yes. Yes, you can make it into a ball. This was I hand wound this one. Or you can make it into a cake if you have a ball winder.
Is it really called a cake?
It is called a cake.
Oh, but that is only if you have a ball winder. You can't do that.
You can't really, you can't really do this if you don't have a ball winder. The difference is this one is not going to be a center pull. And so when you're working with it, it's going to go rolling all around your room unless you stick it in a bowl or a container or something. But
they do have those containers that you can put it in, right?
Yes.
I mean, basically you could take a coffee can and stick it, put a hole in the middle of it, and if anybody buys coffee in cans anymore,
you can do it that way.
They don't fit in the K-cups.
True. I know.
Or in a bag. All the coffee I get now comes in a bag.
Coffee's going to be a lost art soon, just like everything else. But no, this is, I mean, I kind of do this sometimes if I'm feeling lazy and I don't feel like getting all the tools out. But this will roll. This one will not so much. It's flat on the bottom, and you can pull it from the center. Or you can do it from the outside if you choose. The difference with this is after a while when it starts to empty out, if you're working at it from the center, it gets kind of saggy and soggy and you have to rewind it either into another cake or into another ball. When you're working from the outside, it's going to be what it is.
Smaller and smaller.
So it's kind of a personal preference thing, but either one of these
Does it make a difference how you're winding it if it's different colors like this?
No, just no.
But you, like, because this looks like there's reds inside here and yellows on the outside. You would just have to know, like, if you were knitting something from the top down and the bottom up, you would just have to think about that first.
Yeah, if you really cared what stripe order it was going to be in.
Okay.
So
stripe order, that's way beyond me. I can't even get past balling my yarn at this point. This is why I don't knit, people. I don't even know how to ball yarn.
Do it. Give this girl encouragement. She needs encouragement. We have to get her to knit more.
Actually, I realized the other day I don't knit because I don't sit still long enough. I'm always doing something. Like for me to sit still for more than a half hour is a major accomplishment.
We can make you a bag that you can attach to your belt loop, and your yarn can go there, and you can.
And I can walk and knit.
Yeah. Seriously, it's knitting for ADD people.
Nice.
All right. Well, so anyway, what other questions do you have about the yarn? What can we do with this yarn?
Well, so now let's talk a little bit about skeining.
Okay.
So how do we skein this? You said you have a ball winder. You can show us that, or we can see that in a few minutes.
Yeah, in a few minutes. This is actually already skeined.
Oh, right. Skeining it, we want to ball it.
You want to ball it.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's some equipment that I don't have. Like there's skein winders and niddy knotties and things that you can use.
Niddy knotties.
Seriously, and nostopin. Nostopin?
Niddy, like naughty as in not?
No.
Or naughty.
N-I-D-D-Y, N-O-D-D-Y. Niddy noddy.
It sounds like niddy naughty.
it's a stick with a piece here and a piece here. And you kind of do one of these motions and it creates the skein for you.
Oh, okay.
And that's more of a low tech option. I'm gonna say it wrong again. Nostpin, N-O-S-T-E-P-I-N-N-E, is a stick that you can use to wrap a ball and have it be center pull.
Oh.
You can also do it with toilet paper too, but it doesn't work quite as well. So there's different options. You don't have to have a ball winder. You don't have to have a Swift. And there are different kinds of Swifts too. I'll show you the kind I have and we can talk about the other one. But you can just take this skein yarn and you can hang it somewhere and go from there. And that works.
And knit from that.
We'll knit from that or wind it from that.
Okay.
It's easier to wind it because then you're portable.
Right.
You can go places.
Exactly.
Knit in public.
Do you want to talk now about how you store your yarn?
I store my yarn, sure, I can do that. I store my yarn mostly wherever it goes. Wherever I happen to find a place for it. It's in bed. I'm so sorry. It's
Look, yarn! Hey kids, just move the yarn over. We'll eat on the that
I'm
too.
sorry. I admit I don't take the best care of my yarn. A lot of people will keep them in Tupperware containers and just nice, you know, closed, keep the moths and the bugs and the things away. I have some in a dresser. I have some in an old shoe caddy. I have some in bags. I have some under my chair. I have some in my closet. Is there some in your
mattress?
No, there's none in
your
mattress.
rainy day fun yarn.
There's none in my mattress.
Someday my yak yarn will be worth millions. Worth millions, I tell you.
Really, really soft mattress. Now I have yarn pretty much, I mean, it's just everywhere. It's in my bag.
So there's no specific way, but if you leave it out, you know, it's going to get dusty. Like I see you have this really nice bowl with different little balls of yarn, and I'm assuming those are ends anyway.
Extra pieces.
And so you can leave that out, but it will get dusty, or if you have like cats and dogs, it'll get hair on it.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of times with people who are selling yarn, they'll say they live in a pet-friendly home, so that people who may have an allergy know whether or not they can have that yarn. But I think most people want to keep the yarn away from pets. My dog has eaten several skeins of yarn, or at least tangled them to the point of no return.
Does he only eat wool?
No, it was a nice acrylic blend that he got into. I have a picture of it. I'll have to show you guys at some point. It's very funny. He's like completely tangled up in this ball of yarn.
Was he like pooping yarn for days?
No, he didn't. Well, he didn't actually eat it. He like
played with it.
Yes. So, yeah. Yarn.
Is he a cat?
I think so. Many days, I think so. But see, you want to keep them away from animals so that they don't destroy. I mean, this is an investment. After a while, you get the nicer yarns you get, the more expensive they are, and you don't want to have animals and moths and stuff getting into them. You kind of know, based on your own house, what kind of critters are going to get into your stuff, and how careful do you need to be about protecting them. So you wouldn't want to. You want to take more care with your llama, with your cashmere, with the luxury yarns. You want to keep that.
Do you put somewhere. Mothballs in them then, or no? Or just
I do not.
You just keep it in something that's closed.
Yeah, even a Ziploc bag would keep it, you know, sealed away from the elements. So that's probably the main thing. The things that I like, the nicer stuff, I keep in a room that has more access, first of all. But
and there's a retina scan that you get in,
and a handprint,
and you have to type in your code, and the code changes what, like weekly, daily,
hourly. Keep it up high away from the children, so that they have
like,
their little
pom-poms. They're so soft. So look, it's
I know.
Muskox.
Yeah, that's right. Gosh, can you imagine? That would be a travesty.
Those are my pom-poms.
It would be the nicest pom-poms anyone has ever seen. So yeah, that's the general idea how you should store it.
Okay.
So
good. So are we gonna wind?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's show you some ideas on how we can start to wind your yarn, and then I'll show you my tools.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I took my little skein of yarn here and I unskeined it, so now I have a loop. And what I have here in front of me, this is my Swift. It's just sticks that come out and go into these holes, little dowels go into the holes, and then it spins. And then I have my ball winder, and this is a pretty standard one. This is Royal. There are different varieties. Obviously, there's some that are almost industrial and are really super fast and can hold huge balls of yarn. Mine is just kind of a one skein, simple thing. And then there are umbrella Swifts, which are bigger and have a stand. And so there's a lot of different options depending on how much and what you want to invest in. But here's how mine works. You just put the yarn on here, and actually the skein is quite small. I'm not sure I'm going to get it around all four. Typically you want to use all four because 2 is not quite enough space in there, but we'll see how it goes. And then you take the end and you're going to put it into your ball winder. So you take your yarn and you wrap it through this little piece of metal here, and this will guide the yarn. And then you stick it through this little slot at the top and just start cranking it. And the Swift will turn. You want to hold your yarn right here just to kind of keep it even. And as you go, your ball will start to appear. So you can see, now that I've done a little bit, we're starting to get a ball. And this up here, this little section keeps the center string out so it doesn't get lost.
So this is all there is to it. You just wind it and wind it until it's a cake of yarn.
So this is the ball winder with, that's called a Swift?
Yes.
Okay. So, and how much approximately do these cost?
Well,
Ballpark.
I don't know how much my Swift is because actually I got it for a gift, but this costs about $50.
Okay.
And then they go up from there. Umbrella Swifts, depending on how big and elaborate they are, can be, you know, I would say probably 40 to 80 bucks, maybe more. So, I mean, you could probably find something online that's not as expensive, but as a general rule, it's going to be a bit of an investment to get the tools.
So we're talking like you're going to spend like 100 to 150 bucks probably getting this set up.
Yeah.
So if I don't have my 150 bucks yet, because I just spent it all on yarn.
Right. Which is easy to do.
There's other ways to do it.
There are. Yep. And here is the first and best.
This is the classic one that I think of when I think of skein yarn. I mean balling yarn.
Little House on the Prairie.
I'm sure
Norman Rockwell.
I'm sure there's some Norman Rockwell picture of this.
Yeah.
Of the husband doing this and the wife.
Mm-hmm. And then you just take your, like, I don't have this one undone, but you would just take your yarn and work around and around and around, balling it as you go.
And this person has to do this.
Yes.
See, I was skating with I was balling with my son, and he kept going like this. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, keep your hands
your
up.
arms get really tired after a while. So if your arms get too tired, here's another option. Put it around your neck. And then you have to work like this around, or you can put your knee through it like this and work around.
Yeah.
Now, here's another option. If you have furniture that works, woo, crashing, you can take your two chairs, put them back to back. My chairs won't work because they're curved at the top, but a straight backed chair, you can put the two like this and then work around.
And this
that
won't
way.
work because as you pull it, you're just going to pull
Yeah, it's
the whole
going to
thing
slide
off.
right off the side. But with two like rectangular chairs, you can work around those. And you can adjust it to your skein size just by sliding them apart from each other.
I think that all the people at home who have balled yarn, I'm finally remembering the term, should post a comment on our blog about how different things that they have used
I agree.
to hold the yarn as a Swift so that they could ball the yarn.
I agree. We were joking about using the bike earlier, you know, bike seat and the handlebars. And what do you guys use? That would be fun.
Yeah.
It'd be a little creative. I'm sure there's some really neck to neck.
That's a whole different thing. That's when you're trying to get someone you're involved with yarn.
Yeah. You guys want to see my very original ball winder ever?
Yeah. Let's go see it.
Let's go see.
So this is your first ball winder, right?
Yep. This is my original ball winder, circa 19 what? He did great. He really worked hard, but you know, husbands get tired, so I had to invest in something else. So
We learned not to speak when talking about ball winding.
thank you. So that's what you can do with your yarn.
Yeah, I think you covered everything.
Yeah, if you-
all my big questions about yarn.
If there are other questions, please feel free to drop us a line either on the Ravelry group or at sticksandstonespodcast.wordpress.com, and I'd be happy to answer what I can.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, this would be the person to ask, not me. I will go out.
We'll get you next time.
Yes, next time we'll be doing the bead organization.
Yeah.
That I can handle.
Okay. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you again soon.
See you later.
Bye.